Hi, everyone. Welcome to All About the Joy, the Private Lounge. I'm Carmen Lisette, your host. Rick will be showing up a little bit later, but I want to first start by saying this is our first how-to. We've gotten a lot of email requests regarding this over the past couple of years, and I've kind of just never thought it was something that we could do. But now I want to read an email from one of our viewers, and we'll get started. Hey, Carmen and All About the Joy hosts. My name's Keisha. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. I work retail mostly, and I help take care of my niece. But lately, I've been thinking about starting a podcast or going live sometimes. I've got thoughts, on music, relationships, just life in general. I keep seeing people do it, and something in me keeps saying, why not you? I've been listening to your show for a minute now, and I love how it feels like I'm sitting in the room with y'all. It's funny, it's real, and it don't sound scripted. That's what I want, but I don't even know where to start. Like, what do you need? How do you even plan it? How do you not get nervous going live? If you could talk about how y'all started and maybe share a few tips, that'd be amazing. I think there's a lot of us out here who've got something to say, but we just don't know how to say it out loud yet. Appreciate y'all, Keisha. First, I want to say thank you to Keisha for sending us that email. There were a few other people who had asked the same thing. So we're going to do our best to at least explain it on the basic level that I think I'm at. Rick has been doing it a lot longer. So we're going to chime in and try to do what we can to help people who want to start podcasting and live streaming. And here's the thing. If you want to do it, you can do it. Trust me. You know how you always hear people say, if I can do it, you can do it? I'm not even kidding at all. So let's answer the first question. What do you need?
But phone, just put it in front of me. I didn't have nothing fancy. That's what they always say. When you want to start, just start. You don't have to have like multi-$1,000 equipment. Just start.
Yeah, using your phone is a great place to start because here's the thing. You can use your phone and go on certain social media like Instagram or TikTok or even Facebook and just start playing around. And it's free, right? You already have your phone. You can already access these social apps and you can actually just start recording yourself and then posting it and seeing how it goes. And here's the best part about it. If you don't like it, you can delete it. It's really easy. So you can first start there if you're nervous about just trying to see if you want to do it or like to do it. Okay, so let's say you have tried using your phone, you kind of like the vibe, and now you want to upgrade just a little bit so that you can start actually doing things like this. Like recording an actual show and then posting it maybe on your YouTube space. So the next step is basically investing a little bit into actual equipment that will help you look more professional. Now, as I say this, I'm kind of laughing because if you watch us regularly, which I know those of you who are emailing us know, we have so many gaffes all the time with technical stuffage. But let's just start with the basics. You're going to need a computer because it'll be easier to do on a computer. So you could use your laptop, or I have a huge monitor, which is what I use. And you're going to want an external camera. It's not that the camera on your laptop or your computer isn't great, but if we're just talking about upgrading to a little bit of more professional, you can get a really good, cheap camera that will work. And when I say cheap, I'm talking you can get one for like 30 to 50 bucks. I know that's not cheap to everyone, but let's just say you've decided you're going to invest and do something a little bit different. Now, Rick had mentioned that he's had the same camera for years. And it's kind of true. When you invest in the equipment, you don't have to replace it all the time. So I've had this is a newer camera for me, but the camera I had before, the only reason why I had to replace it was because I dropped it and the lens cracked. So, but I had that one for years as well. So my camera that I have, I'm going to put what I actually use in the show notes. I'm not promoting any of them because they don't sponsor us and you don't have to buy what we have, but just so that you have kind of an idea what we're using everything to be as quote unquote professional as possible. So that camera is an external camera. It sits on top of my monitor. It can sit on top of my laptop. And that is what I'm looking into right now when I'm talking to you. And that's what gives you kind of that crisp, good look kind of thing. Okay. The other thing that's really important that Rick is a huge fan of is making sure you have great lighting. Now, I have to tell you, if you've seen our live streams, my live streaming is kind of dark all the time. But when I'm doing these recordings, I fix it in post, right? I do it in editing. I am trying to figure out a way in which to get the best lighting possible for my space, but I kind of have my office in a little cave, so it's a little harder, but I'm working on it. But see, even though you guys think we're kind of professional, we're still working through it too. So lighting is extremely important as well. The next thing, and all three of these are really important, by the way, but it's your mic. You want people to be able to hear you clearly. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a mic. I'm actually using right now a mic that cost about $79, $80. Rick will tell you he spent a lot less money on his mic, but he also uses a mixer. So I think it's important to understand that when you choose a mic, you can buy a cheaper mic, but you might need a mixer in order to help elevate that really warm kind of voice. And some of this might sound kind of foreign and stuff. Don't worry about a mixer. You don't need one. But if you want to buy a decent mic, you can get one for about $50, $79. The one that's the most common, it's not the one that I use, but I just want you to know the most common podcast mic in this level, like medium level or whatever, is a Blue Yeti. So you can Google that. And again, I'm not endorsing anything. I'm just giving you guys some flavor. So again, we'll put those in the show notes. So basically, to start doing live streaming and podcasting and setting yourself up on YouTube, all you need is a computer, an external camera, good lighting, and a mic. So now you're all set up, right? You're ready to do this, but now you're trying to figure out what's the difference between live streaming and podcasting.
Oh, it's a big difference for sure. Because live, you literally just go on the button and you're on. There's no editing because you're literally live streaming. People are watching you, and you're on from there. Like, it's not like, oh, let me rewind. You can rewind. You're on. Everybody's looking at you right now. It's like watching the live news. If they make a mistake, oh well, the whole world just saw me make a mistake. But but people. That's another thing too that was encouraging. People are like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Like, if you goof, they're not gonna. Generally, they don't make fun of you. They're like, think it's cute. So I wouldn't be worried about, like, what if I goof? So what? You're human.
You can also think about live streaming and podcasting in this way, the recorded aspect of it. Podcasting tends to be what we use. We used to just say that it was something you'd use for audio, but now that podcasting is part of a visual medium too, I think that's what's confusing people. But let's talk about live streaming. Live streaming is like going to the theater. You're going to the theater, you're watching someone on stage, and anything can happen, right? An actor can forget their lines. Somebody's phone in the audience could go off. Please turn off your phones when you go to the theater. It's very disturbing when you do that. But the whole point is theater is live. It's happening right then and there. You may stumble, you may get messed up. I'll stutter a million times or whatever. And you just have to go with it because you're on live. When you do a recorded type of thing, which is what you're watching right now, this is pre-recorded. This is not live streaming. What this is we go in, we have this conversation and do what we have to do, and then we edit it. And then we present it to everyone. And we send it out to all of our social media accounts and platforms that allow us to show it. So that's kind of the difference. And that to me would be more like film, right? So you have your theater, which would be live streaming, and then you have your recorded content, which is like film and television, right? That is all pre-recorded and you're watching it. It's not live. It's been heavily edited, and that's the difference. Oh, here's a great question. How did we start?
So Periscope was all the rage back in the day. I know some people today probably haven't heard of it, but back then it was like at the year that I started, it became the number one app on Android and iPhone. It was like super hot. Everybody wanted to check it out, blah, blah, blah. So I started watching that. The first thing I ever recorded was it was supposed to be an eclipse, and my phone was not very good quality to be able to capture that. I was like, oh, well, I tried, and I was like, goodbye, see ya.
I started live streaming because a friend of mine who was on Twitter had invited me to their account on an old app that no longer exists. And that's how I started. And that's actually how I met Rick, because it was a live streaming program, software. I'm not even sure what to call it. An app, I guess, an app. And you would go on there and there would be people talking, having different conversations in different areas. And then people would have you come up and you would also talk with them. And it's kind of like what we're structuring here on Friday nights here at All About the Joy. But this was a kind of different thing. But that's how I started. I was really comfortable in front of the camera because many of you know that I'm actually a performer at heart. But also I had been doing so many Zoom calls for so long, just business wise. So it wasn't something that was foreign to me. It just became more kind of intense with meeting new people, because when we were doing Zoom calls from, with people in other countries or whatever, it was kind of the same thing. But this was like meeting new people you didn't know, and it wasn't business related. So it was kind of cool. And that's how I met Rick. That's how I started. Great question. How do you plan it? Rick will tell you that his show that he does every single day, and he has a show every single day. It's a religious type of show. He's been doing it for so long, and I mean years. He's been doing it for I think 8 or 9 years now. It's very formatted, and it's very rhythmic for him because it's just him talking straight to camera. He knows what he wants to do, and it's structured. And so you can do that too if you want to have a show which is just you straight to camera. And there are tons of shows on YouTube where people are doing that, because if you have something to share, people are going to want to know about it, right? So in that case, his show is very structured, it's very familiar, and it's pretty easy for him to do it now. All About the Joy is a little bit different because we have more than one host, right? I'm the host, but then I have my co-hosts on the show. Then I have guests on the show. We also have a live on Friday nights. I think I've said that 17 times now during this whole thing. For those of you who don't know, but we have very different structures for all of those different shows. And we have a new show starting in September. So because of that, it's a little bit harder for me. When I eventually hire a producer, that'll make it easier. But one of the things that I have to do on a regular basis is make sure we have content or a subject matter or something to talk about. And when we interview peoples, we all do all this investigation on who they are. When I say investigation, I mean we try to find out who they are, learn their bio, and then have appropriate questions so that we can have a nice interaction. But you don't have to worry about all that when you're first starting. You're going to figure out how to plan your show as you go along. I promise you. As you go along doing it, it's all going to make such sense. And it's going to filter into however it is you want to do it. You may do a very, very structured show, or you may turn around and just wing it, which is what we do sometimes. Never. I'm very much a control freak, so as much as some things seem like we're winging it, we're not. Do you have any last tips?
I mean, just really the basics. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid that people are gonna throw tomatoes at you. They ain't gonna throw tomatoes at you. You're home anyway, so but you know what I mean. Just yeah, you're gonna goof sometimes. It's fine. Like nobody expects perfection, and actually it becomes endearing because they're like, oh, they're being real. They ain't trying to fake or be like, oh, I'm so professional. They find it endearing that you goofed a little bit or whatever, and I laugh about it. I'm like, oh, one for the blooper reel. I always joke, if I make a mistake. But it is nerve wracking. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be, the better you'll get at it. And if you we're doing it 2 people here. If you want to do it with somebody, even better, because then you're not feeling like the focus is only on you. If that's how you have to start. And nobody likes the sound of their voice. Just get that straight. Nobody likes the sound of their voice. But another thing too is if you're starting to do it, I always say watch yourself back, because you're going to learn a lot about the things you do that you're like, ooh, maybe I could have did that better. Da, da, da. So yeah, watch yourself back too, because that's very helpful. The thing that people said to me that was encouraging to them that I would say is go online because you know something I don't know. Something that's common sense to you that you maybe in your mind thinking, well, everybody knows that. Trust me, I don't know a lot of stuff that maybe I should know. You know stuff that I don't know, and I would like to know. I'd like to learn from you.
I think the only tip that I would give isn't just about whether or not you should start doing your own YouTube channel or podcast or live stream. This is just in general. If you're curious about doing anything in your life, anything that possibly gives you a little bit of fear to do, a little bit that you don't know how to do it, but you're still intrigued by it and you think about it all the time, I say do it. Jump in with both feet and try it and do it. You just never know where you'll land. You know what I mean? And it might be a fantastic, wonderful journey. And you'll always learn from it if you take that step and just try and do it. I think the biggest regret you'll have is never knowing because you never took the shot. Like if you never take the shot and try to do something, you are absolutely for sure never going to know what happened, right? That is the absolute outcome of never jumping and doing it full on. Keisha, we hope we answered your questions along with all the other people who have sent us questions about this same topic over the past couple years. So anyways, that's it. If you have any other questions, please go to allaboutthejoy.com, go to the contact area, and you can see how you can reach out to me specifically. The email does come to me, and I try to read all of them. We've made some changes on how you can contact me because we also get a lot of spam and bots. But if you want to reach out to me and you have a question and you want us to talk about it in one of our how-tos, we're absolutely happy to do it. And yeah, I hope you're having a great day, a great evening whenever you're watching this. Thank you for your support. And remember, at the end of the day, it really is all about the joy. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for stopping by All About the Joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.